But yes, as I was mentioning, Tony Hawk came at a very formidable time in my life, Melissa.
Uh-huh.
I was a young lad.
This is funny because I was just talking to Sam about the podcast, and she was mentioning, I love listening to this because I miss you, and we don't get the chance to talk very much often anymore. And also, Kyle's good too. He's a nice lad.
He's a nice lad.
This is
This goes
precisely who you are. This is deeply and intrinsically who you are.
This goes out to all my fellow lads out there. No, I was mentioning Tony Hawk because I just saw a tweet of his and I thought it was one that just happened, but apparently it was not. And you were like, "Do you follow Tony Hawk?" And I said, "I don't think so." But it was a tweet that someone else liked, and then we started talking about Tony Hawk. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is an amazing video game.
I remember my brother playing it a lot, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was shortly after, I don't know when exactly, but I remember there was the X Games, I think it was the X Games, where he landed that first 900. I think I saw that. I think I watched that. That was a thing people did. They watched the X Games.
I remember the X Games being around and being watched.
They're still a thing.
Can you quantify for me what a 900 is? Like 900 of what? Do you know?
Degrees of rotation.
Okay, so he spun around almost 3 whole times?
Almost. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
the most
thing.
Anybody can spin.
I don't know. I feel like people have topped it since then. I don't know. But that was like when he did that was the first time a human being had spun around 3 times in the air.
I googled
on a skateboard.
The most anybody can spin. The top results are all Price is Right.
Yes.
Like the most anybody can spin the big money wheel.
Hold on. I should potentially pull up the Twitch chat to see if people are talking to us.
What if they know how much a person can spin?
Yeah.
Oh, this is all about game shows.
Oh, like Wheel of Fortune and stuff like that? Of like how much can they spin?
Search is related to the most anybody can spin. What happened on The Price is Right today?
That's so funny. Oh, damn it. I just popped the chat out, but Sam was in there saying there was a whole episode of Rocket Power about
I'll bet
the most times anyone is spun, but when I popped the chat out, it canceled it all, and so I can't see it. So, Sam, I saw what you wrote there. Well, I don't know exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 58 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. How are you, Melissa?
I'm good. I was wondering, like, how long? Well, I have to remind you, 40 minutes in, we never introduced anybody to the show.
One day that will happen. We'll just get on a good enough tangent that we go for 40 minutes straight, and I'm going to be like, and if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 362 of...
Oh my god. We'll both be in our 40s.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so what's been going on in the life of Melissa? How are you today? You were asking me about hurricane stuff.
Yeah, you said it was hurricane season in Virginia.
Yeah. I actually talked to my parents today on the phone because they went to go see Spider-Man. And they were like, well, we have to talk to you so you can let us know all the
Spider-Son
Easter eggs and stuff. Yeah. And of course, after we get done talking about that, then they don't really know what to talk about. So they're like, so how's the weather?
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's just like
Mhm.
they're like, is it raining there? It's supposed to rain there today, right? I'm like, no, it's not raining now. And then we get off the phone, and like an hour after that, it's like heavy thunderstorms. It's just like, I didn't know this was gonna happen. I don't pay attention. All of that
My
stuff.
parents were right.
Yeah, they know the weather more than I do.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I was describing them as wet tornadoes.
Whatnados, because
Wet
me as a
nados.
Midwesterner, I have never experienced a hurricane, and I wanted to know what they were like and if it was like what I've seen in movies.
There's a lot less sharks usually.
Yeah, less sharks over here too. Absolutely none.
Yeah,
We have NATOs only.
I remember once in elementary school. So the county that I grew up in was one of the like richer counties. I don't know if it was on the East Coast or just in Virginia, but
Mhm.
in our like school district, our school always graded higher. Like an A was 96 and above, and
Oh,
everyone else was like 90 and above.
92 for
So
us, yeah.
we were all hoity-toity and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
the county that we were in, was so big that parts of it stretched up into the mountains, and so we would get snow days a lot.
Mhm.
But it wouldn't necessarily like be snowing where I lived. It might be
Yeah.
snowing up in the mountains, but because it was bad in the mountains, there was a bunch of kids that couldn't get to school or stuff like
Mhm.
that, so they'd shut the whole county down, which was nice because then it's like, hey, it's not so bad where I am. But I remember one day we had a hurricane day.
Oh.
We got off of school entirely because a hurricane, I forget what one it was supposed to be. It might have been. Why am I thinking it's Hurricane Sandy? I don't know. I don't
What
remember.
grade were you in?
I was in like third or fourth grade, so
Oh, no, I
I
feel
don't
like that's a
remember.
more recent one.
I yeah.
That's here in the
Um,
2010s or something, maybe.
Something like that. I remember George Bush does not like black people. That was, oh boy, Kanye.
Yeah. Pivotal hurricane-related memory, yes.
um, but yeah, we got a day off and nothing happened. Didn't even rain. Wasn't very windy. We went to Barnes and Noble with my parents. We ate at Macaroni
That's a
Grill.
good day.
Yeah, it was fantastic. That's my kind of day off from
You
school.
just had a hurricane of carbs.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I had a hurricane of carbs today.
Ooh.
Have you ever? So I'm. We've all stuffed our faces enough at one point
Mhm.
where you're just like, oh my god, I can't move.
Yeah.
Uh, and usually maybe after an hour or so, you're back to normal or
Mhm.
something. That's why they have the like, don't go swimming 30 minutes after you eat.
Mhm.
Um, it's been like 2 hours now, and I still feel stuffed.
What did
It was
what happened?
it was a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs,
Uh-huh.
lots of cheese, all of that stuff, and then I had three like mozzarella stuffed breadsticks. So it was just like
Oh, that is a lot.
a lot of like carbs and meat and cheese, and it was great.
You
Mission
you re
accomplished.
you really carved up to calmly sit here and talk for an hour and a half.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. How to get my workout.
For all this energy I'm gonna burn.
Exactly.
Speaking of days off from school, my first boyfriend was from Alaska, and I asked him, "Did you get snow days growing up, or was everybody so used to dealing with the snow, if it snowed a foot, nobody would care and everything would carry on like normal?" He's
Hmm.
like, sometimes it did snow too much for us, but really, way more often than we ever had snow days, we had volcano days
Oh wow.
when the volcanoes
I
in
don't
the
picture
area.
volcanoes in Alaska.
Oh yeah, well he lived in southern Alaska, like right by the Pacific, by like
Hmm.
the chain islands kind
Okay,
of.
yeah,
That makes that like sticky outy bit that,
the penis.
points. Oh, all right, sure. I can't argue with you there. So he lived down there, which is around volcano territory, and he's like, "Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's there would be some days there would be way too much ash in the sky,
Yeah.
and yeah, we didn't have to go to school."
Interesting.
So, yeah, I love learning about different parts of our great American country. You're not that far away from me in Virginia, but then Alaska is like that is another realm. He came to me from another dimension, pretty much.
Another dimension, another dimension. Um, yeah. I what's the farthest you've been out of the country? Or
None.
none. You've never been out of the. Have you been off of the mainland? Have you been to Alaska to visit said ex boyfriend?
No, 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 we didn't get that far. His parents came to visit him, so that's when I met the family.
Okay.
I didn't get to go up there. Uh, the farthest away I've ever been was Disney World.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't get out much. I just sort of rotate in a very small circle around the Midwest.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I don't. I think the farthest I've been.
Australia.
Yeah, I've been to Australia. I've been to Mexico. And I've been to Hawaii off the mainland. So about it. But it was all like super touristy stuff though, and I was super young, so I don't.
Mhm.
Not like I remember it.
I the thing about living in St. Louis is that the touristy stuff is the local stuff. I mean, it's not like I've got a free Saturday afternoon. I'm just going to go up in the arch. I mean, I have done it several times throughout my life, but it's not like that's the hot spot where everybody hangs out,
I'm gonna
even
go
if it
hang out
maybe
at the
was.
arch. What's up, babe? You want to come hang out at the arch?
Just look at all the animatronics of Lewis and Clark they have in the little museum.
That's funny.
uh So we go there, but not like, this isn't where we hang out, but Forest Park, that's like a big tourist destination and a big local destination. Like everybody goes to Forest Park.
People like a good park.
Yeah, it's a park. It's filled with free museums. I may have outlined this to you previously, but the art museum, science museum, history museum, zoo, and this theater, this outdoor theater I keep talking about, it's all within that park and it's all free.
Cool.
So this is for
don't know if I knew they were all right there, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure you've mentioned them at some point.
It's this massive place. It's like, I don't know, the Central Park of the Midwest. And so that's where out of towners come, and also where this is where we go when we have a free, Saturday afternoon. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, I'll go walk around Forest Park, I guess. I can wander in and
Let's
out
go
of
throw the
any
disc.
museum as I Yeah. Whenever I drive past, it's always filled with joggers and bikers and people with dogs and golfers and people taking engagement photos.
That would make sense.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the spot to do it in.
I gotcha. Good stuff. So you have a couple things on our like docket that
Yes.
I kind of hijacked.
Oh, sure.
So the first one, you have a quote down, and I
Yes.
think I nailed it from what it was from.
You-
I left a
did.
note on there for you. I was like, where have
You
I
nailed
heard
it
that
exactly.
quote before? So why you had? Why? What is the? What is this doing on our list?
Okay. So what I wrote at the top of the list was "Halt, you villains! Unhand that science." And you're right, that is a line from the comic Nimona. It
Yeah.
is specifically a panel of Ballister and Nimona trying to steal something in a lab, and then Ambrosius Goldenloin breaks in and yells,
Halt, you
"Halt!
villains! Unhand
Unhand
that science!
So I have had that one panel printed out and pinned to the bulletin board over my desk for years. I'm coming up next month of being being at my company for 5 years,
Okay, that
which is
makes
a big
sense.
milestone for me.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of myself. And this is a company with, like, not a lot of turnover. It's not like people don't like it and then they leave or something. Just like we have older people who retire, or, this was a job they only had for the time being, like, I don't know, I'm start sort of figuring things out. This isn't exactly it. We have a decent amount of turnover in that regard. And the new people keep coming in. We're
sure.
really growing. So after 5 years, I've already become like middle. I'm like in the middle of everybody, maybe in the upper echelons now, just in terms of seniority.
Squeezed in the middle, smack dab in the middle. Wasn't that the what was that from? It was from like some like lunchable type of thing, right? What
No,
am
I
I
think it's like no, it's like not an Oreo, but it's something like an Oreo. I think it's some sort of
Chips
dessert
Ahoy
cookie.
sandwich cookie something is what Sam in the chat says.
That's it. That's got to be it. I knew Sam would
Like
know what it was.
that
Yes,
in the
it's that
middle.
thing.
That's like one of the '90s references that I know. The like obscure ones. That's like I know that from somewhere. What is it?
Yes, that's a good pull. It's a good pull.
So
But
you've had
so
this comic panel
for
on
like
your
5 years.
5 years.
Like, I was looking back through old pictures of, oh, where was my life at when I
Mm-hmm.
first started this job? Like, I've had that picture pinned up there the whole time, and I've moved desks several times, and every time I like pin it back up there because I like it a lot. And this week, I caught me an academic
The book.
criminal. So I was Ambrosius Goldenloin. I said, halt, you villain,
Bad boys. What you gonna
unhand that
do?
science. I mean, it's business and economics, so I don't know if you could call that a science, but still, it was the self-fulfilling prophecy. I did it. I caught a plagiarism.
There you go. You caught a plagiarism.
I was very proud of myself.
There you go. So what is the process when something like that? Like, is there someone at your company you report them to? Is there some other organization? Do you call the cops and be like, swarm, swarm, swarm? There he is.
I
Yeah.
was so for one of my journals, we had just accepted this manuscript, and the corresponding author wrote to me and said, "Hey, I want to add a co-author to this paper," which you normally do not do at the very end of the process. They're
Yeah,
all
that seems
supposed to be
strange.
there when you first submit the paper. Or, here's my revision. I had a colleague come in and help me run these extra tests or whatever, come up with these
Like, so
statistics.
he was like no new revision to the actual paper. Just hey, here's another name. Okay.
Just slid it right over to us at the very end. Like, okay, this is weird. And in my
Name is Mr. Jackson. $20. That should do it, right?
the way it works in my business is I have to send this to my editorial contact, and she has to send it to the portfolio manager. So it goes through all of these people. I am the middleman. I do a lot of stuff. I have a lot of power, but there's still a jillion people that I have to send things through to make sure it is absolutely confirmed and double checked and approved, and then I get to do the thing.
Sure.
So finally they get back to me and they're like, okay, that's weird, but I guess he's allowed. If the editor says it's fine, it's fine. And the editor says it's fine. And then I have to add the corresponding author into our, I have to take this new co-author, I have to add them into our system information, and I have to send them a verification email that says, hey, please click this link, confirm, yes, I am a co-author of this paper. And while I'm Googling this guy to make sure I've got the right email address, I find that he is a very well regarded, prestigious, prolific scholar who is like taught at Harvard and at all these other universities. And he like writes economics articles for PBS NewsHour, like all these accolades.
Oh, wow.
Which raises a lot of red flags because we've all heard of, not all of us collectively as the human race, but like my office, have heard of cases where an author like puts their professor as a co-author on their paper because they know that's going to boost the credibility of it, even if their professor did nothing to actually contribute to the paper and should not be counted as an author.
I
Like,
see.
this has got to be one of these. So I send the verification link to this new co-author, like, this is likely a sham, but in case it's real, this is what it's for. Click the link one way or the other, accept or decline. And he writes back and he says, this is entirely my paper. I already
Oh,
wrote
wow.
and published this in a different journal. Look, here's the link. This corresponding author who submitted it, I don't know this person. And they've tried to submit my paper with their name on it to several other journals. Here's all the email addresses of
Yikes.
those editors for you to go talk to.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's like I was right. This whole thing seemed sketchy to me the entire time. And yeah, I got it. I wrangled them in.
Yeah. Score 1 for the good guys.
I've done this before. I have a couple times caught an author submitting the same paper to multiple journals at the same time, which you're not supposed to do.
Mhm.
You wait all the way until it is rejected or until you voluntarily withdraw it, and then you get to go to a different journal.
These guys don't get paid for putting it in the journals, right? It's all just like,
Oh
hey, here's
no,
my work here. Yeah, here's
they
the.
pay the publisher like
Okay.
some just page printing charges. Like, okay, it's 12 pages. You have 3 color figures. It's X amount per page and this amount for color printing.
Because
Or
I was
something like that.
thinking maybe it was one of those things of like, you send them out to all of them, see who gets back, and then you leverage it. Well, these guys are going to publish it. So
Oh,
if you up
no.
my pay.
No. Yeah, they just some people might be new to the world of academics and they just don't get it. Like, no, this isn't like a dating app or something where you just message a ton of people and then see who gets back to you. Like, you get one at a time. And
Interesting.
sometimes, who knows, it may be sneakier, but this is what we're for. I am the Ambrosius Golden Line. I am the Ambrosius Golden Loin on the front line of science.
There you go.
Also,
it's such a good book, Nimona.
It's so good. I am so jealous that you and Paul already did that book before I got onto the show.
I mean, eventually we can do, like, I feel like there has to be a statute of limitations.
Oh yeah.
On this stuff, because it's there's some things it's gonna be like, I remember I read that, but that was like 5 years ago. I don't remember things that I read 5 years ago, or
especially we'd like have to cover at least 50 things aggressively each year.
Yeah. Or, I mean, yeah, it was just like I've consumed so much other content, I might have had a change of perspective or change of mind or something like that, or had some new life experience that opened my eyes.
Now I am Ambrosius Golden Loin, and I can do this much differently.
I never got around to posting, like, or I guess reposting those older episodes. They're out there on the internet. If you are a true internet detective, you can find them. But I have taken all the old episodes off of like iTunes and stuff like that.
I can still get them on my app. I can get them on Podcast Addict. And in fact, this week I went back and I listened to the first ever episode of the Whatnauts where you were talking about the black tapes.
Yeah.
And it is
so, a bad episode.
It's charming. You're going so slowly.
We really are.
You're so slow. And but the foundation is there. Like at one point you're like, this kind of makes me think of this one thing in Lost. Like, yep, same old Kyle.
That's Kyle, yep.
Yeah, and it's the Black Tapes podcast is about ghosts and stuff. And you're like, well, one supernatural thing did happen to me, but you don't get to tell the story in that episode. And it's the beam of light story, right?
Yes. I'm assuming it is. That's my like ghost story that I tell.
I tell that to people all the time.
I have no idea what it was.
It haunts me too, also by association.
Haunted by association.
This is a story about a spooky law firm.
but yeah, I mean, like I guess you can kind of see like how it ended up being this show, or not this show, but how that show
Yeah.
ended up being the review show, or
Mhm.
I guess what was the Whatnauts podcast originally. Um, but yeah, not a good first episode.
Oh, it worked on me. The first
It
episode I ever found and listened to was Wolf 359, but I think the next one I listened to was Black Tapes.
it was still, because I think you went back, because I mentioned that was not only the first, that was the first one we released, not the first one we recorded. That was
Mhm.
like episode like 3 or 4,
Mhm.
because the rest of them were so bad, like even worse, just like no direction at all. We had no idea what we were doing. And I think I don't think we released. I think the one right before that, we were talking. I think Daredevil season 1 on Netflix had come out
Mm.
right around that time, and
Yes.
so Paul wanted to talk about some kind of like Daredevil related thing. Like, how would you do a Daredevil movie type of thing? And it like, we weren't actually talking about a specific piece of content.
Mhm.
It was just like, if you had got to make a Daredevil movie, what would you do? Would you want it to be a courtroom drama? Would you want it to be more action based?
I would want it to be a courtroom drama.
Right?
I'm the nerd that watched Daredevil and was like, "More courtrooms and church, please.
Yeah.
This is what I like."
More law and Catholic guilt, please.
Yes.
Um, but yeah. So like and we had done a couple like that before
Mhm.
that, and I think by that time I was just like, we're kind of going like, we don't have a purpose with this show. We want to talk about pop culture stuff, but we need, like, why don't we just make it more of a book club style thing where each week we have a specific thing to talk about
Mhm.
that helps us like focus
Yeah.
our thing. And that's what became the Whatnauts podcast, and then what we eventually changed to the review show.
And like we're so organized now. And this first episode is, well, the season's not done yet. So we're only talking about the 7 episodes that are out right now. And now we're so like clearly delineated.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I eventually thought that was all of season 1, and then when we went back to it a year later, was like, oh, we didn't cover all of season 1. So who knows? Good times though.
Mhm.
It was fun. Second thing I kind of hijacked on this thing. You put M&Ms, and that was it.
Yes.
And I have no idea what that means from your side of the computer screen.
It is what it is, Kyle. I did want to know if you found the Crunchy Mint M&Ms you were looking for at Target. I wanted to update you that I had peanut butter M&Ms again this week for the first time
Great.
in years. They're so good.
They
I
are
had to
good.
like give them to my coworkers, like, stop me or I'm going to eat all of these right now.
Have you put them in the freezer or like in the fridge to like chill them? The
Oh, I didn't put
freezer
them in
might
the
be too much,
fridge.
but
Yeah, that's oof.
the cold ones can be good too. But
Mm.
yes, I took my adventure to Target, the magical land of Target,
What'd you
this
find?
past Saturday. I ended up buying new bed sheets,
Oh,
2 pairs of basketball shorts, and what else did I get?
what's on your bed sheets?
The new ones
Anything?
that I bought, no, they're just they're a solid color. I have a black pair, I have a white pair, and then I had bought a like a navy pair when I went to Target this
No, your
time.
bed sheets.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, a pair of sheets?
Uh,
I thought you were talking about your shorts. I've never heard sheets described in a pair.
did I say pair?
You said, "Yeah, I have a black pair and a white pair."
Well, it's the fitted sheet and the sheet on top of it. They're
It does come with two, but I've never heard anybody say a pair of sheets.
I mean, if it had its own, I guess it did also come with matching pillowcases, so it is a set. A set of
a set is acceptable.
Bed sheets or bed paraphernalia.
Bed accessories.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm boring like that, but I feel like a lot of the designs Target had, they were kind of picked clean. I felt like they didn't have much. I was like, this is not much, and the patterned ones that they have didn't seem like ones that I would have in my very technology cyberpunk manly bedroom.
Yeah, you're not gonna have like my cute pink floral bed sheets.
Probably not. Not that I'm against that, but it wouldn't go with. I don't even have a theme in my room, but
yeah, cyberpunks don't have flowers.
You never know.
Super flowers. They're made out of holograms.
Like it's weird because like I am a graphic designer, so I do like patterns. I do like all of that stuff, but I'm also very picky about that stuff too. Because so yeah, I tend to just go with. If I do wear like a T-shirt or something that has a design on it, it's usually a logo or some kind of company that I like or want to support, or some podcaster that's like, I want to buy your merch. But with bed sheets, it's just like no one's gonna see them. They're underneath the comforter. It's like the insides of a hot pocket.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like they don't need to look good per se.
But they need to get the job done.
They need to get the job done, but they still need to be appetizing. And when you do bite into it, and when you do open it up, it still needs to look decent enough. Yeah. So I was like, solid colors. That's what I want to do.
Serviceable.
Yeah.
Plain.
Next, I want a pair of. There I go again. A set of like dark purple ones.
Ooh, that's what I want. Mysterious. Yeah.
Purple's my favorite, so that is why.
Really?
Yes. It is.
I see you associated with purple so little.
Usually, yeah, I don't really wear anything purple. I don't really own anything purple.
Huh.
But I like, like deeper, darker purples.
Like an eggplant, an aubergine.
Yeah, because it's color of royalty, but it is a mix between red and blue, which is like darker. It's more mysterious. Yeah, it's the color of royalty. Get over it.
No, I don't. Just something about you saying that and then saying it's just so factually, it's a mix of red and blue. Like you're giving a book report.
Well, Melissa, if you didn't know, it's a mix of red and blue. You didn't hear it from me, but apparently word on the street is it's a mix of red and blue.
The most basic fact, and you said it just so normally and seriously. like this is how humans converse with each other, just regularly as adults. Purple, the
mix of red and blue. How do you not know this, Melissa? Come on. I thought this was common knowledge.
This is real professional.
I'm laughing at how much you're laughing because you're like wiping away tears.
Like, I can't stop. I would if I could. This is my curse.
Well, to answer your question, yes, I did find the M&Ms.
Were they good?
They're so good. And on the package, it says they were the winners of whatever flavor contest that they had. I don't know if it was like, hey, our top 5 flavors are all gonna. You just looked like the.
I know, like that's what I felt like wiping all these tears away from my eyes. I feel like the Pan's Labyrinth monster.
Exactly.
Does that guy have a name?
He probably does. I think I saw the movie once and I didn't like it.
Is Pan the girl's name? This is a movie, like, I love Del Toro. I've never seen
Pan is a flute.
It is, yeah.
Purple is the mix of red and blue.
You found my kryptonite.
This is good. Good. This is a good episode. But yeah, they're fantastic. It's basically Thin Mint M&Ms, and I found them at Target, like I was hoping to, because they stopped selling them at the grocery store that I go to, and I found them there that once, and I was like, these are fantastic. And yeah, never saw them again, and then just happened to like, you know what, I could probably buy them somewhere online, and so I searched for them and I found them on Target. And so when I went, I bought them, and then we had someone in the chat last time. Your screen just got smaller. They were talking about like some jalapeno M&Ms, and I saw those
jalapeno
too.
What country do those come to us from? Because I know they had like international, like it's English toffee, Thai, coconut. Mexico, right?
I would assume Mexico or South America.
Do jalapenos
like
come
that.
from another place?
I don't. I'm not a jalapeno expert. But yeah, I saw those, and I saw some like weird. It was some other flavor. I think it was the Thai. What was the Thai one
Thai
you
coconut,
mentioned?
Yes.
I think it was that. I saw that and I was like, that does not look like any kind of, like, I already don't like coconut, and I'm pretty sure I don't like Thai stuff. But the mix of that is just like, how would you even think of that?
It's good. There is up in my home suburb, not the suburb where I reside, but the suburb 20 minutes north where my parents live. There's an amazing Thai restaurant, and they had this dish called, it was just coconut noodles, and it's pink. Like whatever coconut they put in there, they add like something pink to it, and you can get it with shrimp, and it's just this big, sweet pink bowl. And it's the best, and I recommend this to anybody.
Big old pink bowl of noodles.
Should you find it in your own local.
But yes, so my M&M adventure was a success, as you might say. Yeah.
Another M&M related question.
Yes.
Which M&M do you think you are on a spiritual level? Not like I feel like peanut butter M&M, but like
which flavor, not which one of the talking ones do you relate to the most?
No, that's what I'm asking. Which M&M character are you?
So I don't know the personalities of them. I don't know which one's which. My favorite ones are the caramel ones. I love those ones.
I don't know the personality of caramel.
Well, Melissa, the bag is purple. Which is a mix of red and blue. It's more like a purplish navy, if that makes sense.
I think so, yeah.
It's very, very dark blue.
Sam and I were talking about this recently. because I'd brought up J.K. Simmons, and she didn't know he was the voice of Yellow M&M.
Yeah, he is.
Which, among his most prolific roles, J. Jonah Jameson, Cave Johnson, Yellow M&M.
There you go.
Tenzin. I don't know. So we started talking about M&Ms, and I'm like, which one do you think you are? Because I would like to be like a green or a brown, because they seem like they really have their lives together, like they're confident, strong women. But I think ultimately I'm just going to have to be like the nervous blue one. Like I have the M&Ms I aspire to be, and then the M&Ms that I am.
Exactly. So this makes me think, what should we do for our first Patreon exclusive episode of the Captain's Log? Because we've been doing Patreon exclusive episodes of the review show, and I've been wanting to switch it up. So I think we're after the one we're going to record this weekend, I'm going to do one more of the review show, because that will equal 6 of them. And then after that, I think we're going to switch to episodes of the Captain's Log for a bit. What should we do for the first one?
I know we've agreed loosely on a theme, and that we're going to try and do like games with each other, like play games and take quizzes and things like that. We talked about this, right?
Personality tests and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Doing an episode of tests, doing an episode where we draft something.
I should reach out to Belinda for that one, because we wanted to do a Disney movie draft thing.
We could draft dang anything. Like we can go for the option where we just list stuff like, okay, who are your favorite cartoon villains? Or we could go for the option where we build something. Like in the way it comes from sports. And in sports, you build a team. Like you take various people and you put them together, and you're like, this list makes a cohesive whole at the end. So we could build a team of something. I've been thinking it'd be fun to take characters who do not exist in franchises and make a franchise out of them. Like, we're going to build the Avengers of just assorted people from non-franchise things. Like, okay, helming up my team is Nicolas Cage's character from National Treasure. One guy from an action movie I saw once. Like, just assorted, standalone, like non-canonical characters to anything, just like people from 1 or 2 movies at the most. Like I'm gonna take, like, you're just gonna League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and like pull them all together. Like, this is my team, they will fight.
There you go, your League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, as you said. Yeah, we could do something like that. I would still like, I've mentioned it once or twice, I would still like to do that personality test that your friend had. I don't know if we can do it, because
I want to ask him if he even still has it. Yeah, or
if you can get that. If you can get that, or if he'd be willing to make us one, he'd have some time. He'd still have like a month or so. He'd have at least a month to make it, but because it was not just like a regular personality test.
It was a dark Myers-Briggs test. It was a Myers-Briggs test for all the negative parts of your personality.
I would love to do something like that for the first one.
Oh, all right. Let's really get to know ourselves.
And then we've also tossed the idea, doing our like, what are our top favorite robots, like we did,
just like countdowns and lists and quantifying things. Like, okay, we're gonna rank the MCU films or whatever.
Do you know anyone who knows tarot card stuff? Because that could be an interesting one too.
That sounds really tricky to do across the internet, is the only thing.
Potentially.
Like, if I knew somebody, like, maybe they could come over here and do my cards for me, and you would just have to watch through your webcam. Or maybe, like, I guess they could do yours. Like, I don't know if you have to physically touch the cards to get your tarot read for you. If you, like, tap the deck and that imbues it with your energy, and then the cards.
With my mind.
I can ask about that. That sounds really fun. Oh,
We
you
can
know what I
see.
wanna do? You know what I'd wanna do?
What would you want to do?
Let's play MASH.
Yeah, there you go. Like the millennials that we are.
Mansion, apartment, shack, house. You know?
Exactly.
Let's name 5 spouses and 5 cars we wanna drive and 5 jobs we wanna have, and all of it, every category we can think of.
Exactly. Let's see. I'm trying to. Oh, whoops.
Whoop.
That's not what I wanted to move. I just moved everything. I don't know why it's moving everything. That's not what I want. I want this thing. There we go. Um, I'm trying to fix your camera
Uh-huh.
while I'm speaking
I'm
here, and
too
it's
little.
yeah, it's something like that. Why does it?
For once in my life, too small.
I do that, but why is it? Sometimes it angers me. I don't know why it does certain things. But yeah, like I think stuff like that would be neat. I really like the idea of that like personality test style thing being the first thing that we do.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially if it's some kind of special one or a wacky one or
Mhm.
something like that. I like that idea. We can always do something else, but I think that would be a good idea. I liked the idea of uh, doing the like fantasy draft thing. Now you mentioned potentially reaching out to Belinda on that one.
Yeah, because you threw out Disney as a topic for the draft, and I'm like, well, we'd have to have Belinda on, clearly.
Yeah, I might even be more interested in like officiating between you two, since you are the Disney experts and I have no idea what I'm
Oh,
talking
you should
about.
get like a Disney like trivia quiz put together and
I could.
you moderate both of us. You give us the questions.
I could. I think she does Disney trivia though, so I think that might be something she's really good at. Um, but I don't know. But yeah, you should see about that personality test and let me
Okay.
know.
I
Because
will
if not,
ask.
then we'll have to pick something else.
We'll find another quiz.
Yeah, we can find one.
So we have recently divided our department up into 3 teams so that we can always have dedicated coverage buddies. Like if somebody's out of the office, it's not like, okay, here's your list of journals. Everybody pick 3 journals and you cover those for the day. Now it's like you have your own little pod. Those other people in your pod are going to know your work really closely. They will automatically cover for you when you're gone. We
Mm-hmm.
won't have to like scramble to find, okay, somebody's gone who can take this. Like we've got buddies for these things.
Sure.
And if you just end up light one day, hey, I've got a spare hour. Can I help you with your checks or something like that? So we have these 3 teams, and our our supervisor was like, and you can name the teams if you want. I don't care. So we got very into naming the teams.
Okay.
Kate named her team Horses in the Backlog.
Okay. Is that a reference to something?
Yeah, it's Old Town Road, the
Okay,
song.
that's why I don't know what it is.
You got the horses in the
I've
back.
heard the song once.
Horses in the back. And this is what we do. This is the purpose of our life. We have to clear manuscript checks out from under backlogs, and we have to get our turnaround times down as short as they possibly can be.
Okay.
Do everything as fast as you can is the principle of our job, basically. So she named hers Horses in the Backlog, and I named my team Medieval Turnaround Times, Dinner and Tournament.
Okay.
Our sigil is a falcon. And the third team, this is the quiz guy is on it. And none of these teams have leaders, but we've been talking to him about it just because he's like the most senior member of the team. So it seems like he would care the most. We're like, Dustin, what are you going to name the team? And he's like, Team 2, the second team. Like, you can't. You have to come up with a real name for this.
Two Team, Too Furious.
That's what he said next!
Is that really what he said next?
Yes!
Yes! Great minds think alike.
We're like, okay, that's better. But we were throwing him these other ones, like, one of mine was Submission Impossible Ghost Protocol, because I want all these team names to be as obnoxious and long as possible. And the title of our job, we are the journal editorial office. So when we're labeled in the email system, we are labeled as the JEO. So another name I threw out was JEO Power and Associates.
Yeah.
Just obnoxious, like long, complicated phrases. And he's like, I think Two Team, Too Furious is good enough. I'm done.
That's not a bad team name. Why didn't you guys pick that one?
They were team 2. We weren't.
You should have voted. And like, yes, go with that one.
So sometimes he really cares about stuff like writing this entire personality quiz, and sometimes he doesn't. So we'll see what he says when I'm like, can you dig up this thing for me? He might be like, no.
You should be like, hey, do it now. Don't like ask. Just demand it. Be like, hey, you
authority.
Dig this thing up. Find it. I need it. It's mandatory.
Make Kate do it, because Kate's the aggressive one who bosses everybody around.
There you go.
Yeah, we all have our roles in the team, and I'm like the soft, matronly fairy godmother who answers everybody's questions, and she's the loud jock who yells at everybody because she's used to being a coach.
All right, everybody, get back to work.
Yeah, that's not far off.
So,
Kyle, I have a question for you. I'm gonna ask one.
Okay, go for it. Because I was about to mention this whole Robert Redford, Zach Galifianakis thing. Have you?
What?
We'll get to that in a sec. Ask your question.
Okay. I'm very curious, because all you had written was, it was Robert Redford the whole time, without any context, and it makes him sound like he's the Scooby-Doo villain under the mask.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get back to that. So I was at a party with friends, and we were talking about movies, and the actress Melissa McCarthy came up, and I said, you know what? I think she's really my favorite other Melissa. And I was talking to a friend named Ian, and I asked him, who's your favorite other Ian? And he gives me this incredulous look, and he says, McKellen. It's like, so I wanted to ask you, who is your favorite other Kyle?
You know, I saw this on the list, and I had to look up people named Kyle.
I could name, there's Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights, Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern, and then I couldn't think of anybody else. Oh, there's Kyle XY, the ABC Family.
The first thing that came to mind was Kyle XY, but that's dumb as hell.
He doesn't even have a real name.
So, no, it's not going to be that one. So yeah, then I was like, famous people named Kyle. And it's a lot of sports people that I don't know. There's like some comedians and screenwriters.
Oh,
it's like, how are these guys? It's like, who are these guys? Kyle McLachlan.
Whom?
That's not how you say his name. How do you pronounce his name?
Kyle
the guy from yeah, the one from Twin Peaks.
Oh, the pie man.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, he's good. He's a fantastic actor.
Good quality Kyle to have.
Yeah. You got one for the good team. One for the home team. But yeah, there's not many. Like, Kyle's not an uncommon name.
It's uncommon enough that I took I've been thinking about this today. Like, how many other Kyles can I even name? And before coming here, I named 2, and one of them was fictional.
Poor Kyle Rayner. Yeah. So I saw him, and I was like, oh, great. he's perfect. He's on Twin Peaks. He was on Agents of Shield.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was
Wow.
on that show too.
He does a very small guest voice in the last episode of Gravity Falls.
Okay, there you go. Good stuff. But yeah, he's a good actor. I like him a lot.
Good.
Now, I
good,
will
good,
give
good.
the thumbs up that he gives in Twin Peaks. I would say that's my favorite.
No, tell me about Robert Redford and like what haunted carnival he was trying to scare land developers away from.
So you've seen the meme of the guy, guy out in the woods. He has beard, he has hair, maybe just a little bit down past his ear, and he just gives you that nod, just like, good job.
I think it's a GIF.
It's a meme, yeah. It's a GIF. It's the guy. He's like, which way is it? To you, I guess it's this way. I don't know. And
I think I know what you're
just
talking
like,
about.
good job.
I think
it's
I
like
have seen
slowly
this, yeah.
just coming in.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone thought that was Zach Galifianakis.
Famous bearded man.
It's not. It's Robert Redford.
Huh.
And
they don't look similar.
No.
No.
And the internet went crazy, being like, "That's not Zach Galifianakis. What in the world?" And they're all like, "It's Robert Redford." And then all these Gen Z kids,
blue and black.
Yeah, it's. But then all of these Gen Z kids are going, "Who's Robert Redford?"
You know, he's Alexander Pierce from Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yes, that's what was happening. They were like, "Oh, he's that one guy from Winter Soldier," and then we're just like, "Oh my god,
that's not a bad place to know him from." You know, maybe you did get to watch All the President's Men in a high school journalism class.
It's like, have you not seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Have you not
I haven't. I'm not a dad.
I mean, you don't have to be a dad to have seen that. Your dad could have had that on because that's what dads watch. Like it was just it was a nightmare. It was so funny to watch as like people my age and just slightly older were all just like, I feel so old. Like, they don't know who Robert Redford is, and he was old for us.
He was like not a person common for our generation to know. Yeah,
but he's also like so famous, and it's just like, how do you not know who he is? It's so strange. But yeah, so it was almost like one of those Mandela effect things. So I retweeted some news article that was like, did you know that this is not Zach Galifianakis and that it was Robert Redford the whole time?
The whole time.
And I was like, yeah, I was like, remember when they changed the Berenstein Bears to the Berenstein Bears?
Remember when they changed
what else are they hiding?
Bears to Kazam?
Yeah, what else are they hiding? You know? It's like, what else have they changed and we just don't know it?
I had a moment with a friend of mine where I think I forget how this started. I think he was just saying like, oh, somebody came up to me and like acted like we knew each other from high school and they looked kind of familiar, but I don't think I was the person they thought I was. And like, what if you are the subject of somebody else's Mandela effect? Like, it always happens to you. Like, you think the wrong thing, but what if somebody is thinking the wrong thing about you? Like, what if there's somebody who swears up and down, oh, yeah, I remember that kid from my class, Kevin Springer. Kevin Springer is great.
So, Sam, no, I always remembered it as the Berenstein Bears, but apparently it's the Berenstain Bears. And... no, that's not what I remember. None of the books said that I remember, but somehow we switched universes.
I remember very distinctly the book said Berenstain, but my mom pronounced it Berenstain. Berenstein.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
that was the thing.
I guess mom just doesn't get it. I'm not going to stop her. she can say it however she wants. I can read, and I know what's correct, so I don't need to have the upper hand here.
Yeah.
Mom can pronounce it wrong.
Let's see. It's IPSOS official asks, how old are we? We are both 28.
We are.
Yeah, so then this whole Zach Galifianakis, Robert Redford thing is just like, what? How? How do people, like, I guess I didn't recognize who it was anyways.
Yeah.
But
I don't pay terrible amounts of
I didn't
attention
really
to
care,
gifts.
but when it came out that it was Robert Redford the whole time, and everyone was just like, how do you, who's Robert Redford? It's like,
I don't, no, I'm sure we've all got those people where it's like, I've seen the face and I've heard the name, but I'm not 100% sure that face and name match up to each other and what that person did.
Yeah.
They did something like this. They
Oh,
were
well.
in, a big movie. My mom liked that guy. Yeah. We've all got that guy.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I'm sure Robert Redford himself doesn't mind.
I'm sure Zach Galifianakis doesn't mind, because Robert Redford was a handsome-looking dude back when, in his day. So to get be like, man, is that Robert Redford? It's like, oh. Strange stuff. Speaking of things that are very, very old, the Flintstones.
Yes.
Melissa, the Flintstones.
Flintstones.
Apparently they are working on an adult version of the Flintstones. I don't know how I think they're doing an animated cartoon, but it's aimed at adults.
It was originally.
Yeah.
I mean, it
debatable.
was safe for kids, but I don't think they're like, kids are gonna love this story about Fred spending the savings that Wilma wanted to use on a new washing machine to buy himself a bowling ball. Kids 8 to 12 gonna eat that up.
Yeah. And it's one of those weird things of like, I both. So there was some recent Flintstones comics.
Yes, I've heard those are great.
They're brilliant. But it wasn't much of a new take on them, but it was kind of not spun in a different, like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's the exact same thing. All the exact same stuff happens, but it manages to like pull out all the like social issues and the political stuff going on,
and
all the metaphors back behind there.
It's a living.
Well, it pulls that stuff out, but in a comedic way that is a hell of a lot funnier than the cartoon or the 90s film. And apparently they're making a cartoon, and I'm hoping it is based off of those comics.
I'd hope so too. Yeah,
those comics are amazing.
That sounds like a good match.
Yeah. I just thought that was an interesting thing. Melissa, if you had to make an adult version of the Flintstones, what would be in this adult version of the Flintstones? Flintstone.
I don't know. I've never looked at the Flintstones and said, this is missing something.
I mean, it's not like, what would you add to it, but like, what would your take be? What would it focus on?
I don't know.
Is there a certain
It would be
aspect
nice if
or
Wilma and
relationship?
Betty also had jobs. They're not obligated to. They're certainly welcome to continue being homemakers. But if we just had another workplace environment besides, Slate Co., I would enjoy that.
Okay. That could work. While you were saying that, this is not exactly what you were thinking, but I was like, what if it's Desperate Housewives, but the Flintstones?
I like this.
That could be really funny.
I just want all the same rock puns, but
Sure.
used sexily.
I don't know if you can do that sexily. Sexy? Just they're puns. It's meant to be like, did you just? All right,
what?
We're done here. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like, I don't know, but yeah, I think if it was up to me, what would I do? See, I think my take no one would like. Like I feel like I would want to dive more into the. I mean the comic kind of does this in issue or two. Like, these guys were both soldiers. They had to build this town. They had to kill a bunch of people and animals to
Hold on. Fred and Barney are veterans?
Yeah.
Of what war?
It was like, it was, so in the comics it was like they had a newly elected mayor who is this like Neanderthal guy. He's just a complete savage. He wants to fight things and beat things up, and he sees the people that still live in the trees as threats and stuff. And so it's this whole idea of like, hey, there's these people outside our borders. They're trying to get in. We shouldn't let them because they're different and all that stuff. So I like playing up some of those metaphors. Maybe not that one in particular, but this idea, yeah, these guys were veterans. They fought in a war back then. What is it like to have to learn to evolve and how does that stuff, like, how do you actually get to a point where you can build the town of Bedrock? What sacrifices had to really be made? What is underneath that bed? What are they hiding?
What are your
what
war
have they
crimes?
Buried under there with those
what
dinosaur
are the
bones?
Sins of these wreckers,
right?
I just, because this is such early humankind, I want it to be linguistic nonsense. I want every episode to play with language a lot. Like, they're just like, all right, we need to name this thing, and they go through the cycles of just stringing words together, just making metaphors, making turns of phrases, making allegories and aphorisms for the first time.
Oh yeah. In the comic, they touch on religion and stuff like that. I'm just like, how do we make religion, and what do we call God? Except they weren't calling it God. I'm just like, how do we do that? How do we get people to come to this thing and like lift up their spirits? And can we get them to pay us? Can we
this is Jesus was a carpenter. I don't think the Flintstones world has any carpenters. Like, I don't hardly see anything that isn't made out of rock. I never see like a nice wooden table like Jesus would have made. I don't like that. Intrinsic part of the mythology would be gone, and something about that upsets me.
Yeah, this comic was wild though, but it like it's exactly what you know from the Flintstones, but it takes a look at all these different aspects about life, and it pulls out all of the like socio-political economic stuff that you wouldn't expect from a Flintstones comic. It pulls them out amazingly well, and it's funny. They make it really funny.
I'm so intrigued by this. One of these days I'm going to sit down and read this thing just so I have a better concept of what people are talking about.
It's only like 2 volumes. It's like 12 or 13 issues, so it's super fast read.
I'd like to have that same treatment for everything. I want to see like the more mature, thoughtful Yogi Bear and like what that's about.
The real that would be about like deforestation and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, because they did a whole line of like, hey, let's bring back those old Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, like I know, isn't there one where like, is it Snaggletooth that's basically
Snagglepuss.
just Snagglepuss, he's just Tennessee Williams. He's just an old sad gay playwright.
I've heard that one is brilliant too. I'm not familiar with Snagglepuss, so I don't know if I would really get it, but like, yeah, I've heard the Flintstones was the best one. I've heard Snagglepuss was good, and I've heard the Jetsons one was good.
I'm intrigued about the Jetsons.
I think they did a couple other ones that I didn't hear, or they were just like, you don't need to read these.
I will watch
Melissa,
Scooby-Doo hits me.
You were just getting robot-y on me. Can you repeat that?
I will watch or read or take it in, however I need to take it in, any version of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is like one of my big soft spots that
Aren't
hits
they
me
making a
every
new
time.
one? A new show soon?
Yeah, there's going to be a new show called, I think it's Scooby-Doo and Guess Who? And it's that old, like, guest star, what are you doing here? Like, that's
not the
entire
board game? That they're not just, like, walking around with the board game?
It's just, I think, typical Scooby-Doo adventures, but the point of it is that they're leaning real hard into bizarre guest stars. Like, what were the Harlem Globetrotters doing on Scooby-Doo? It is a past of doing this, and it is a past of doing it like, oh, we all just accepted this like this was going to happen. Okay. And now this is leaning real hard into it. Like, maybe one of them was Zach Galifianakis. What are you doing here? Like,
no, it's Robert Redford the whole time. So the chat wants to know if you've seen all the Scooby-Doo movies, and I want to know which one is your favorite.
Oh, I have not seen... Okay, I've seen the 2 live-action ones. I have seen many of the animated ones from within my own lifetime. Zombie Island, classic. Zombie Island's very good. You know, I've seen like Cyber Chase and Witch's Ghost and Alien Invaders.
Chase.
Oh yeah, they go inside a computer and fight a virus.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay.
Scooby-Doo has seen some shit, man.
It's not as good as Zombie Island. Zombie Island's so great. Zombie Island holds up. And then out of the recent generation of these, like around the same time that Cartoon Network was producing Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, the TV show, which is still one of my favorite cartoons of recent years. It's really strong. Around that same time, the studio was producing these direct-to-DVD movies that aren't in the same style. They aren't in that same continuity, but they have kind of a similar like sense of humor to them. And there's one called Scooby-Doo Stage Fright that is pretty entertaining, where it's like a Star Search kind of, or like America's Got Talent kind of competition show that they go to, where people are slowly getting like sabotaged, and also this kind of Phantom of the Opera sort of deal where like it's clear there's some specter that wants one person to win. Why that one person? Who's the specter? It's just got a lot of really fun side characters in it. Wayne Brady's in it. You can't go wrong with that. Quite a variety. That one's entertaining.
You mentioned the Harlem Globetrotters. Fun fact, I've been to go see the Harlem Globetrotters, and I've gotten to sit courtside.
How did you get such a privilege?
I don't remember. I was really young. I think my dad got tickets from work somehow, and I want to say I've seen them more than once, but I could be wrong. I don't really remember, but I remember I was sitting courtside. And I had this big giant thing of cotton candy because I was young. I don't remember exactly how young, so I don't even...
Young enough that cotton candy is like a legitimate foodstuff?
Let's be honest. Cotton candy is still a legitimate foodstuff. But yeah, and enough that's what my parents bought me to get me to shut up and pay attention and stuff like that. And I guess it was during one of the breaks or something, but one of them goes and gets the cotton candy guy, takes all of the cotton candy, and just starts passing it out to people. And so there I am with my full thing of cotton candy that I'm picking, and he hands me another one.
Oh, man.
And my parents are like, oh, God, the sugar. Oh, no. And so they're like, no, son, you can't have that. You need to give that to someone else. And I'm just like,
blessed. You have to. This is your destiny.
Yeah, look, I got it for free. I'm the chosen one.
He's my dad now.
Yeah. Why can't you be more like them?
Now this is a new story I want. My parents, the Harlem Globetrotters, and it's the entirety of the Harlem Globetrotters raising one small boy.
It's a new installment in those books like vampires don't wear striped shirts. You know.
Yes.
You remember those books?
Yes.
So
like
good.
In the same series as like Magic Tree House.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah.
My parents, the Harlem Globetrotters.
My 5 dads. Plus 2 alternate dads.
Yeah, no, but that was a thing that happened. I sat courtside at a Harlem Globetrotters basketball game, and I was double fisting my cotton candy. Yeah.
Wow, that's living large.
Hell yeah.
Dang.
When I retire, that's what I want to do again. Sit courtside.
What is the one childhood memory to revisit?
Just imagine me at like 68 years old. I have on like knee-high socks and suspenders, sitting courtside at the Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah, with like
this is how you will live your life, regardless of how society progresses. You're gonna be cyberpunk.
Mechanical arm and stuff. Yeah, and I'm sitting there with 2 things of cotton candy, courtside at the Harlem Globetrotters.
That's how I want to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that specifically, with that kind of childhood exuberance. Like, I think when I retire, I'm going to build myself a full-size Barbie dream house I can live in.
There you go. My mom always wants me to like build her a house because somehow she thinks because I went to art school that I know how to build a house.
Like a real one, or like
she wants me to like design their house and stuff like that.
You're not an engineer. You don't know physics.
I mean, I've played The Sims once. I think it was The Sims 2.
I don't know if that
not the same.
2 Sims.
But she's always like, you should design our house someday, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, give me the Lincoln logs and I'll get to work. And she has yet to buy me a new stack of Lincoln logs. So there you go. Yeah. That's been my week, Melissa. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up and do housekeeping?
Dang. I think we crossed everything off the list that I had put there. It's been a good week.
I started my rewatch of Evangelion. I might talk more about that once I'm done with the show. It's great.
That's good.
I will say, if you have not checked out the episodes that Waypoint is putting out, they're another podcast, Waypoint Radio. They've done a couple episodes basically covering the Evangelion. A couple of them have seen it before. A couple of them have never seen it, so they're all rewatching it together and like discussing it in chunks. And it's fascinating because one of them, Austin Walker, he's a huge like mecha anime fan, and his knowledge of that stuff puts me to shame. it makes me look like I have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, it is a must. If you are rewatching that show, go check out the stuff that they're talking about. It's fascinating. They're theorizing, they're dissecting it, they're critiquing it, and they're fantastic stuff. So maybe I will talk more about that once I'm all done with the show.
Nice. Sounds good.
Housekeeping, though, before we get out of here, a big shout out to our Patreon supporters, Sam and Christine.
Yes.
Thank you guys for supporting us. You guys are supporting us at the $5 tier. And for anyone else who likes what we do here, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us. The $1 tier will get you all the episodes early if I can get them up on time. I've been a little bit late with those ones. And it'll also get you access to the live streams of the review show, which is another one of the podcasts that we do here at the Whatnauts.
This week on the review show, we are covering the anime film Metropolis, based on the works of Osamu Tezuka. We're going to have my brother come on. My brother James is going to be back.
It's like, yeah.
This is an old Wilkinson family favorite. Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's
on our episode of the review show. Yes, last week on the review show, we covered Hadron Gospel Hour. It's a audio drama. I think there's 2 or 3 seasons. I don't remember exactly how many. We covered the first season, which is the first 9 episodes. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, wild sci-fi adventure, just sort of hopping from wacky multiverse to wacky multiverse.
Exactly. And last week here on the Captain's Log, Melissa, you shared a story about making a mixed CD for an old schoolmate that you had.
Yes.
And that was a wild story.
It's one of my personal favorite stories. And I read out the entire meticulously chosen track list.
It is a great playlist.
CD we tried to give a boy none of us had seen in several years.
Good stuff. We also came up with a sci-fi dystopian steakhouse, which is a phenomenal idea, and none of you should steal it because that's the business I'm going to start, get rich off of, and then retire early so I can go sit courtside at the Harlem Globetrotters.
with one cotton candy in each hand.
Yeah. So that should be fun. Be on the lookout for all of that stuff. You guys can find out more information at thewhatnauts.com. All of our podcasts can be found anywhere podcasts are sold. Just search for the Whatnauts, and that's Whatnauts as in like astronauts.
Yes,
and stuff like that. Spelt a little
to people
differently. Melissa, where can they find you these days?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. Go to my Instagram and find a picture of a cake I made. It's a good cake.
The cake is a lie. Mine. You guys can find me at Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram, and we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter if you guys want updates with this show as well. Once again, go like, share, subscribe, sell your soul, give us all your life savings over at our Patreon, and that would be wonderful. This has been episode 58 of the Captain's Log. We will see you guys next week. Adios.
Bye.
What up? Thank you guys so much for checking out that episode of the Captain's Log. We hope you enjoyed it. We got plenty more where that came from. Go subscribe to our channel right up here. Go check out one of our other videos down there. You never know what you're gonna get. It could be another episode of the Captain's Log. It could be the Reactor Core. It could be the review show, which is our like book club style thing. Go do all that stuff. Leave us a comment down below too. That would help us out a ton. See you next time.